Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nurul Shazwanis binti Roslan from batch 18A DEM 0419081 from College Newton, Diploma in Enforcement Management. Okay, today I want to present for my case study. My case study is murder case of Siti Nur Surya Shuhada, 1 November 2020, 8:30 AM. The victim's brother named Zaid Azrael, 28. Before his brother went to work, his brother would buy porridge for his sister Siti Nur Surya Shuhada, 90 years old, to be fed to his mother who has brain cancer level 3, which causes his mother's speech system could not function. After that, his brother went to work. In the house, only his sister Siti Nur Surya Shuhada and his mother live in the house. Siti Nur Surya Shuhada has finished her school and did not continue her study due to the care of her sick mother. 1 November 2020, 1:45 PM. Usually at that time, her sister Siti Nur Liana Shuhada, 50 years old, came home from school. At that time, her sister would take her to go home. At the same time, his brother felt unwell, worried and wondered why his sister did not take him to school. Aside from worrying about her sister, her tried to contact her sister repeatedly. After that, his brother decided to go home alone. Revelation, the suspect informed that he went to the victim's house at about 9 AM and checked in the living room before there was a misunderstanding until a fight broke out between them. The suspect then took a knife from the living room before injuring the victim in the struggle. Muhammad Ali said, as a result of the arrest of the suspect, some items belonging to the victim were also reported missing, including mobile phone, cash and makeup equipment. Examination of the suspect body also found trace of injuries on his body. Police are still using knife believed to be used in the incident, and remand order will be applied for tomorrow for further investigation under Section 302 of the Penal Code for murder. 2 November 2020 at 8:50 PM, 𝑧𝒊𝒕𝒊 hoped that the person who caused Siti Nur Surya Shuhada death will receive a fair punishment. Ismail said he did not think at all that the suspect intended to assist in the investigation of the case was a former school friend who had been close friends with the deceased. Suspect often come to the house, but over the past few months, Siti Nur Surya Shuhada has been rarely at home. He really did not expect the incident to happen. Nur Liana Shuhada also said the last time she met her sister was yesterday morning before going to school. And at the time, her sister was still sleeping in their room. He said they did share the room, but since last week, the deceased sleep alone in the living room, and the night before the incident, my sister had time to sleep with her mother. The family also had to tell their mother that the deceased had died due to fever because she was worried that this incident would affect her health. Siti Nur Surya Shuhada body was autopsied late in the afternoon at Sultanah Nur Zahir Hospital before being taken to the mosque for prayer. Siti Nur Surya Shuhada body was safely buried at about 8:50 PM at the Kampung Beladau Salat Cemetery in the presence of immediately family and local residents. At 3 November 2020 at time 8:50 AM, The shivering suspect arrival at the court. Magistrate Engku Nurul Ain Engku Muda allowed a 7-day remand order on suspect. A 90-years-old girl who is believed to have killed her friends, Siti Nurul Syuhada, 90 years old, in an incident in Kampung Lubuk Batu, Telemong, Hulu Terengganu yesterday. The court decided and reopened the case for the last time on the suspect in the period from 10 November 2021 to until 6 November 2021. The suspect appeared to be shivering as soon as he was brought down from the police vehicle before taken into court. The suspect, who is also a friend of the victim, was arrested at the Telemong police station at 8:50 a.m. yesterday. The suspect, who is also a Form 6 student, was also reported to have stolen a sum of hundreds of ringgit, cosmetic, 2 bags and 2 mobile phones belonging to the victim. The remand order on the suspect started today and ended on 9 November 2020. At the 10 January 2021 until 60 January 2021 at 9:40 a.m. Siti Nur Atira was arraigned in the Maram Magistrate Court on charge under Section 302 of the Penal Code. A female student was tried in the Magistrate Court here today on charge of killing her acquaintance. Siti Nur Ismail, 90, Siti Nur Atira Azmi, 90, was charged before Magistrate Engku Nurul Ain Engku Muda according to Section 302 of the Penal Code. According to charge sheet, the Form 6 student was accused of killing Siti Nur Syuhada at a house in Kampung Lubuk Batu, Jalan Bukit Taduk, Telemong on 1 November between 8:30 a.m. To 9:30 a.m. However, no confession was recorded from provide for the death penalty upon conviction. Engku Nurul Ain then set 10 January for remention of the case at the Kuala Berang Magistrate Court. The prosecution was conducted by Deputy Public Prosecutor Amir Abu Bakar Abdullah, while the accused was represented by the lawyer of the National Legal Aid Foundation, 𝑪𝒂𝒔𝒆. Early, Siti Nur Atira, who was wearing a purple lockup dress and a black veil, arrived at the Maram Magistrate Court at about 9:40 a.m. Several members of his family, including father and mother, were also seen in the courtyard and waved to the accused. Conclusion is, for the question 1 is, from all the result of the police investigation as well as the police forensic team have collected blood and fingerprint samples from the skin and found some hair sample in the victim grabs. So referring from this case of conclusion, indicates that Siti Nur Atira Azmi, 90 years old, is a suspect in this case. Siti Nur Atira Azmi, 90 years old, was charged under Section 302 Penal Code in the Magistrate Court Marang today for the murder of her friend. Siti Nur Ismail, the charge was read out before Magistrate Engku Nurul Ain Engku Muda. The motive for the incident was due to mockery and sarcasm, as well as a eruption of quarrels or fights the claimant the life of his friend. Next, evidence helps to establish the murder case other than conviction of the suspect is circumstantial evidence is evidence that relies on an inference to connect it to a conclusion of facts such as a fingerprint at the skin of a crime. By contrast, direct evidence support the truth of an assertion directly without need for any additional evidence or inference. Direct evidence usually is that which speaks for itself, eyewitness accounts and confession of a weapon. Evidence is the available body of fact or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. As an investigating officer, apart from the suspect conviction to prove it, this case is a murder case that is through CCTV footage near Suraya house victims, as well as the lost item and also the knife used by the suspect. To further prove this murder case, the police also found several items belonging to the suspect, including mobile phone, cash and makeup. The suspect stole hundreds of ringgit in cash, 2 handbags and 2 mobile phones to falsify the robbery in the house. Real evidence, often called physical evidence, consists of things the jury can physically. The suspect from the victim's house was found on the side of the Telemong highway. The forensic police force also collected blood samples and fingerprints from the skin and found several hair samples in the victim's scalp. Besides that, in this case, there are some family members who are traumatized. Trauma is a response to a very sad and disturbing event that impairs an individual's ability to cope, causing feeling of helplessness, reduced self-esteem, and the ability to feel a variety or emotions and experience. A person who suffers from trauma, especially the victim's family, his father, brother, and his sister Siti Noliana, in a state of fair trauma and sadness. As a result of this case, they were very impressed because their family members left for a long time. The effects of this trauma, the deceased father Ismail Muda said after the horrific incident that happened to the 50th child of the 7 siblings, they and their family still did not have the strength to return to their residence and now live temporarily at the deceased's grandfather's house in Kampung Beladau Selat, Kepong here. A sister expressed the trauma of her feeling towards such an incident, like, "I still remember the memory of my sister, Stino Surya Shuhada, who was covered in blood when she was found in the living room of the house. That is why I myself have not been able to return home in Telemong after the incident. Only the brother went back and forth to see home and take necessities such as clothes, yet no one is willing to spend the night there for now. When the victim still has a victim who is closet to his mother and will take care of his mother, who is ill with brain cancer. Apart from that, the trauma to his mother was also affected. Even though his mother could not defend or do anything because her mother was ill and could not move when the incident occurred. Another, as her boyfriend was also imprisoned by this incident. Because before this incident happened, the victim had time to meet him. They had planned to have wedding that year, but were postponed the following year because COVID-19 increased. But the victim did not get what he wanted. He felt very sad and traumatized by the passing of the victim. Lastly, in this case, the suspect should be punished under Act 302 of the Penal Code for murder. Section 302 of the Penal Code is the code used by the public prosecutor to prosecute the accused person for murder. In the legal system in Malaysia, a person will go through several stages of trial before the death penalty is implemented. The first stage is the sentence by the High Court, followed by the Court of Appeal, and lastly the Federal Court. If these three levels of court decide the guilty verdicts against the accused, then appeal for pardon for the offence will be made forwarded to the Yang di-Pertua Agong or His Majesty, the Sultan or Yang di-Pertua Negeri, depending on where the offence was committed. This decision is considered final, and if the sentences is upheld, then the court will order the prisons department to carry out the death penalty to the offender. Yes, suspect can be sentenced under Section 302 of the Penal Code for murder due to that from the result of the investigation and the information collected through the case of the witness incident at the conviction of the suspect as being quite convincing that the evidence and information collected is strong. Through the result of the investigation found several items belonging to the suspect, including mobile phone, cash, and makeup. The suspect stole hundreds of ringgit in cash, 2 handbags, and 2 mobile phones to falsify the robbery in the house. The knife, which was allegedly taken by the suspect from the victim's house, was found on the side of the Telemong Highway. In addition, the police forensic team also collected blood and fingerprints samples from the skin and found several hair samples in the victim's scalps. The case is being investigated under Section 302 of the Penal Code for murder. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you all can understand in this case. Stay safe and stay healthy.